Hello everyone, Vampire218 here, bringing you a new series revival to my channel. This is Draft Spotlights. Like I said, guys, this is going to be Draft Spotlights. Now, this is going to be different than the Draft Spotlights I did way back when for old fans of the channel, and this is also going to be different than the normal Pokemon Spotlights. Now, in normal Pokemon Spotlights, what I choose to do is I go over Pokemon and their usage on the ladder, specifically the OU ladder. This, I will be doing Pokemon specifically for draft leagues. Doesn't matter if it's free draft, if it's open draft, whatever kind of draft, this is going to be for draft leagues. And the first Pokemon I've chosen to do is, bam, Buzzwole. So, looking over Buzzwole, it is a bug fighting type with some pretty interesting stats there. Now, the bug fighting type means that it is going to resist bug, dark, fighting, grass, and ground. Now, that's some very nice resistances, you know. This means that this thing can come in pretty safely on specific mons that are going to, you know, hit you with a ground type move, or hit you with a grass type move, or hit you with a bug type move. Now, it is weak to fairy, fire, and psychic. And that's kind of an issue because these are very prevalent moves in the league format. And it is very weak to flying. Now, that times 4 weakness to flying isn't actually as bad as you would think, and I'll tell you why right now. Most mons aren't going to run a flying move. There are very few actual flying moves that hit you, and we'll get into that in a moment here. But let's look over its ability, which is Beast Boost. Now, what Beast Boost does is it increases your highest stat by 1 stage whenever you kill a Pokemon. And that is huge, guys. That means that this thing's 139 in attack, or 139 in defense, or even 79 in speed can increase if... Ooh, shop now. eBay on power tools. It can increase based on what you put into it. And we're gonna test that in some sets in a moment here. But it's a good Pokemon. You know, 107, 139 is pretty good. But let's jump back over to Showdown and see what we can do with this thing. Now that we're back on Showdown, let's take a quick look at this thing and what it can do, what can we put on it, and then we're going to compare it to some other mons here. So, 139 in both its attack and defense means that this thing is a physical tank to a degree, but it can also dish out some massive physical damage. Putting as much into attack as we can, we get 414, meaning that this thing is going to be destroying even physical tanks. 107 in HP means that we can get a nice 418 in there if we max invest in it. Now, speed is going to be the issue on this thing. However, unless you're taking a special hit, and you can prepare for that pretty well through some nice little items that we'll show you in a moment, you're going to be outsped, and you can't really take a special hit. But let's go to the items, because you have quite a few investments. You have Choice Band, Choice Scarf, and Assault Vest, the top 3 right here. Now, you're going to run Assault Vest in those weeks where you know you're going to have to go up against a special hitter that's going to outspeed you, but that you know that if you get a hit off, you can kill it, and that probably could kill you if it gets a hit off. That'll let you not only take out that mon that's a really big problem for your team, but also live a hit. Choice Band if you just want to go max damage, and Choice Scarf if you think, oh man, I really need to put some speed into this thing. Other options are Focus Sash. However, I don't recommend Focus Sash in leagues. It's good on certain mons, but I don't think it's going to be used on Buzzwole. Life Orb is always an option, as is Rocky Helmet if you're going defensive Buzzwole. But let's look over its moves. We get good fighting coverage through things like Hammer Arm. However, I would much rather Superpower. You get good electric coverage through Thunder Punch, rock coverage through Stone Edge and Rock Slide, depending on which you prefer. You can even heal yourself with Roost. You know, Poison Jab to kill those fairies, Leech Life as more health regain, you know, Ice Punch. You get Earthquake Facade for massive damage if you take a status. And it's really interesting how good this thing is, and it doesn't seem that good on paper. But then you actually start looking into its moves, its stats, and it actually is really, really interesting. Even going down here, you can go for a massive Giga Impact, and you're going to do some damage. You know, you have access to some utility moves like Smackdown, so you definitely have some options you have with this thing. Its move pool is not the greatest, but it has a high enough move pool that you're going to be able to put in some work. Now, obviously the role that this thing is going to fill on your team is your bulky, physical sweeper. Also, not just that though, it's going to be a bulky physical sweeper that's fighting or bug type. Now, fighting types are more commonly seen on teams, but there are some bug types out there that you might want, that you actually wouldn't need to draft if you got this. Now, the closest mon to this is Heracross, but specifically Mega Heracross. Looking at Mega Heracross, you know, sure, Mega Heracross is going to significantly hit harder, unless you get a Beast Boost. And based on Buzzwole's attack, like I said, you can get nice, and put this back to 31, 414. Meaning that even if you don't get that kill right away, you still have your healing that you could probably secure a kill later on. And if you do secure a kill and you spec right, you can increase your attack to a point that Mega Heracross can't get naturally. Now yes, Mega Heracross can do setup through bulk up or, you know, swords dance, but that's a turn that you're not doing damage. Whereas Buzzwole takes that turn that it would be setting up, and you can still bulk up with Buzzwole. You know, you have options to bulk up, but what you're doing is you're taking that turn and you're hitting for massive damage. If you get a kill, then you have a Beast Boost, and then you're hitting for even more damage. Something that, you know, you don't really see with Mega Heracross. Sure, Skill Link is good, but I still gotta favor Buzzwole over that one. Now, that's, again, my opinion. You may like Mega Heracross more. Another one is Infernape. Now, Infernape is interesting as it is faster, it is very speedy, it's good fast, but it doesn't hit as hard. Now, it gets similar in terms of its coverage, you know, it gets a little bit different types of coverage, and most people will say it probably gets better coverage because it does get special as well, and you know, you get things like acrobatics, close combat, EQ, of course, you have fake out, you have more options with Infernape, but that being said, Infernape is in a very awkward position in leagues. You know, it's very easy to stop, I'll say. It's one of those mons that's tier 1 that you could see in tier 2. It's good, but again, it fits that problem where it's not wall breaking as much as you'd like it to. And, you know, going over to the stats, you know, you have more bulk. So if you're looking for a bulky physical sweeper, you want to go Buzzwole. Now, Mega Medicham, absolutely, you have pure power. You're hitting with a base like 200, you know, you're getting that up to almost, what, like, over, I want to say 600 attack, and that's huge. You're doing a ton of damage. But you have a lot more answers to a thing like Mega Medicham. Mega Medicham, sure, it may pick up a kill here or there, but you run into the issue where you're not as bulky, like I said. So, even though Mega Medicham is doing more damage, in the long term, Buzzwole is doing more because it can regain its health through Roost, and after you get a kill or two, it's doing more damage than Mega Medicham. Mega Medicham is for a soft, fast hitter. Buzzwole is a long-term, sustained, heavy hitter. Mega Pinsir, another very interesting mon here. Yes, it is hitting faster, and it's hitting harder in the short term, and it has comparable on the bulk on the defense. But its HP is only 65, meaning this thing can't really take a rock hit. In addition, times 4 weakness to rock is much harder to combat than a times 4 weakness to flying. And then there's Conkeldurr. Now, Conkeldurr, again, is probably the closest to Buzzwole in terms of what you're doing. And it gets good abilities, too. You know, you can Sheer Force, which is going to do a lot of damage in the short term. And, you know, even looking at it, it has a little bit of higher attack, but massively less defense, massively less speed, and significantly just not as good. So definitely, if you're going for that bulky physical hitter, Buzzwole is your person. Now, one last thing is items here, and we already talked about items. We talked about, you know, Assault Vest, Choice Band, Choice Scarf. We have a lot of other items that we can run here too. If you're really predicting a flying move, you have the Flying Berry. And you really need to synergize this with your team. And not only with your team, but against your opponent's team. And that's the biggest thing, guys. In a league format, you can bring the best Pokemon in the league, and if your opponent brings the right Pokemon, you can get hard countered. So I definitely would suggest building this thing to your benefit. I've been Vampire Tweeteen, bringing you the first episode of Giraffe League Spotlight on Buzzwole. If you liked the video, make sure you leave a like, share, comment, favorite, and subscribe. Bye!